Yo, what's up? Gear is here. So welcome to my arena team building video. And in this video, we're going to be discussing how to actually build proper arena team comps, because I've noticed that even in master tier, a lot of players are still bringing out a lot of questionable comps. So hopefully, if you're one of those players, you will come across this video, and hopefully it will help you build a proper team next time. So yeah, without further ado, let's start. So if you're building your own original team, the first thing to do is to actually select a unit that you want to build the team around. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's just select something randomly from this list. So yeah, let's go with Lucy here. Now the reason I picked Lucy as the first example is because not a lot of people are using Lucy, and I want to show you guys how to build around the more unique arena units in the game. So yeah, first thing you want to do is to actually look at the units kit. So Lucy is a fast moving unit. She has a 25% movement speed buff, and her normal attacks don't really do that much damage. So if you're playing this unit, you would want to play for your weapon skill instead of your normal attack. So if you're playing a unit like that, most likely you would want to use a defensive team comp, and for that there are a lot of options that you can choose from. Obviously this unit is a runner, so you would want the other units to work on a runner comp as well. So for example, a very good example here is Noxia. Noxia is quite a good runner with an HP party buff, so it makes it harder for the opponent to kill Lucy before she can chain them. And you know, the buffs are beneficial to Noxia herself, because Lucy's crit buff actually buffs Noxia's hybrid damage. If you didn't know, Noxia's weapon skill deals melee damage, her normal attacks deal range damage, and her chain skill deals hybrid damage, both melee and range. So yeah, crit buff will benefit all of Noxia's attacks, so it's going to be very good. You can also put Marina in here for like elemental synergy, because for example, if your opponent uses an earth unit to kill your Marina, you have a fire unit like Lucy to revenge kill it, so it's actually going to be very effective. Now for the next unit here, you would most likely want to run another defensive party buff, like for example Ogma. Ogma is a very good pick here. You can also use Arena here if you want, though Arena is not really that effective on this comp, because with Arena you would want to deal as much damage as possible with your normal attacks. So that's why you always see Arena with Rosetta, with Kai, together with another crit buffer, usually Commander. But this comp is not that bad if you don't have a choice, but like ideally you would want a unit that actually benefits from having a comp like this. Ogma goes well with almost any team comp, so if you have Ogma on your available, Ogma is never a bad pick. You can also pick Ara here if you want. Ara is also a very good unit for playing around with the weapon skill. Usually you would run Ara first here, and like the same thing, if your opponent runs a dirt unit, you can revenge kill it with Lucy. It's a very solid team comp here. So yeah, that's how you would want to run Lucy. Now technically you can run a comp like this, right, and they would still share party buffs with each other. So Claude's range buff affects the two of these, Campbell's range buff affects the two of those, and Lucy's crit buff will obviously affect the two of those. However, the problem with this with a comp like this is that even if they all share party buffs properly, only Claude and Campbell functions on this team well, because if you didn't know, this team composition is called a hyper offense team, sometimes referred to as one button cancer. And one button cancer teams will just rely on normal attacks in order to beat up the opponent before they can actually use their weapon skills. And as I already said earlier, right, Lucy's normal attacks are a bit lackluster, so you would never want to be dogfighting with this unit. You would want to be running away, trying to dodge as much attacks as possible and kill your opponent with weapon skills. So yeah, if you run a comp like this, your Lucy is going to be way too squishy to be able to chain the opponent. So it's not really an ideal comp for Lucy. It might be ideal for Campbell and Claude, but for Lucy it is not. And of course, if you want to run a comp like this, you can always replace Lucy with someone with a similar party buff. For example, Commander, right? Commander has the same party buff as Lucy. She's also a ranged unit, but the difference is Commander's normal attacks are actually quite good, and she does have a defense shred, so she's actually very good at dogfighting. So yeah, a comp like this is going to work much better than a comp with Lucy. Like if you want something more unique, you can run Gabriel here, for example. I don't think it's going to be that good, but yeah, the elemental synergy is there, right? Again, as you can see, if the opponent runs a basic unit to kill your Gabriel, you have your Claude to revenge kill that basic unit, right? though Gabriel is not really that used in Arena right now because she's a bit lacking on damage. But of course, if you don't have any choice, Gabriel is not that bad of a pick here. But yeah, as you can see, guys, even two units, like two ranged units with the same party buff, will not function in the same type of team comp. You will always need to take a look at the unit's kit and try to make them function, try to make the whole team comp achieve the same goal. Now, for more unique party buffs, like for example, weapon skill regen speed, with Zelos here, obviously you would not be you would never want to run units like Camel with this. For example, this comp, right? Zelos, Camel, and Mark II. These units again share party buffs with each other. Like everyone benefits from each other's party buffs, but you know, Camel is a one button unit, and like a regen speed party buff is not going to benefit Camel's game plan at all. So that makes this comp again not a viable comp. But so if you want to run a regen speed unit like Zelos, obviously you want to use teammates with actually good weapon skills. Like for example, Marina. Regen speed Marina is very good. Regen speed Noxia is also quite good. Other units with good weapon skills, you can even use Mia if you want on certain maps. Veronica, of course, one of the staple weapon skill units. You can even run double weapon skill regen speed with Veronica in your team. It's actually going to be extremely good as long as your Veronica is strong enough. But yeah, never use Zelos with units that want to deal damage with their normal attack. It's just not gonna work. So like, let's see one of the flexible units here. For example, Beth, right? You can actually use Beth in a lot of different team comps. The usual comp you would use a unit like Beth is actually melee crit with Beth, Carol, and usually Arena here. As you can see, these units are like a comp like this is actually good if you use three units that counter each other. Like for example, if you want to run Beth first, what unit actually counters Beth? Light units, right? So if they play a light unit to kill your Beth, you can use Arena to revenge kill it. And then if they use a dark unit to kill your Arena, you have Carol on the last slot to revenge kill Arena. So it's actually a very good functioning team. But Beth, she has a decent weapon skill and she's a dog fighter. She can actually work on more defensive comps as well. So for example, you want to run Marina here. It's not going to be that bad, though I don't really recommend it because it's going to hurt your Arena. Arena wants to deal as much damage as possible with her normal attacks. So like equipping a defensive buff with Arena, though it works, it's not the most optimal thing. So yeah, there's that. That's the other point here. Even if it works, it doesn't mean it's optimal. You can always choose something else. But yeah, it's the same principle. You can actually like replace Arena here with Future Knight. Melee crit Future Knight is actually very good. Not the rifle though. I meant the chainsaw. Yeah, comp like this is actually very good as well. And even the troll comps, right? Even if you're making troll comps, you need to make sure that your troll comp makes sense. Like for example, if some of you might remember, I tried to use Bob in Arena that one time, and I used Bob with Ogma and Noxia. Like I did not just slap those units on that comp randomly. I actually thought of a comp that would make most sense if I use Bob. Because if I use Bob, I'm already on a big deficit because Bob's party buff is just trash. It's just 10% HP. It's almost nothing, right? So what I wanted to do with this comp is just pick boxes with Bob, pick boxes with Ogma, and then try to reverse sweep with Noxia. You can arguably do the same thing with Marina. Now you have two units that can actually carry, but I'm not really that comfortable in getting getting multi kills with Marina on this team. So I just chose Ogma, and yeah, I actually 1v3 a lot of people with my Noxia, so I thought it's going to be possible, and it actually worked. And yeah, I saw some other people trying to run Bob as a troll comp, right? And their comp does not work because they try to do something like this. I forgot the exact team, but it's something like this, right? They used Bob with Carol and Beth. I think one of them was Sky, but yeah, just pretend this is Sky, right? It's not going to work because like your game plan with this type of comp is to press your attack button and kill the opponent as fast as possible, which is it's not something you'd want to be doing with Bob, because if you dogfight with a unit with a comp like this, you're missing one party buff. So you're almost guaranteed to lose every single dogfight. Like for example, you're playing your opponent's playing a Lina comp with Rosetta, you are 99% going to lose that. If your opponent is playing a runner comp, of course you're also going to lose that, because again, you're lacking damage. They're going to be able to run away and cast a weapon skill, right? So even with a troll comp like this, you still need to build a proper team comp that actually makes sense. So I hope you guys understand that by building a comp, your entire comp needs to make sense. You cannot just make a comp around one unit. Your entire comp needs to make sense. But yeah, like for example, if you're running mono element comps, obviously with Garam, you can only run water units with Garam. Marina is good with Garam because Garam's water buff will actually buff both Marina's hook and Marina's normal attacks, and with it you can choose a crit buffer. Very popular pick here is usually Hannah. If Hannah is good on the map, on ranged maps you can use Bianca, but you would never use Marina on ranged maps, right? Garam can be also used as a one button unit, so you can use Garam with a variety of comps. Like for example, you can run Orca with Garam. Obviously, if you use Orca, you will not use Hannah because Orca is a ranged buffer, so you would have to switch Hannah for a water type ranged unit like Bianca, right? So this team is actually very good as well. As you can see, there are a lot of possible options that you can go for if you're building teams. Like some units don't only make sense in one type of team. Like again, for example, Arabelle. Arabelle is primarily a runner. You would want to beat your opponents with your weapon skills. So if you want to use a monodark team with Arabelle, this is the go-to team. Noxia with Ogma. You can use Scorsel instead of Noxia if the map is bad for Noxia. But yeah, you know, this team is it's a very solid team because Arabelle is a runner. You would want to use your weapon skills, therefore you would want a defensive team, and Noxia is also a runner, so you would also want to run a defensive team with Noxia, right? Though Arabelle, even if it's mainly a runner, if you want to run a more offensive monodark team, it's also possible with a lineup like this. Like Arabelle is not going to be used, like you will not get Arabelle's full potential here because, as I said earlier, Arabelle is meant to kill opponents with her weapon skills. But Arabelle's dogfight is not that bad, and you can also kite your opponents to avoid a lot of damage even if you don't have any toughness. So Arabelle, though, like as I said, not optimal. She's not that bad on this team, and if you use a dark and a range buff on the same team, it's actually going to have good synergy because, in case you didn't know, dark and ranged is actually better than ranged and ranged. So for example, if you replace Arabelle with Camel here, it's still going to work, but it's not going to be as strong because range plus range is not as good as dark plus range. Like mixing party buffs is actually better most of the time. Yeah, anyway guys, I hope you all understood how to build team comps. So again, just for a quick refresher, pick your main unit, understand how that main unit works, and then pick 2 units that actually support your main unit while being supported by the main unit as well. So your entire team needs to function as one. It doesn't make sense for one unit to be out of place. Always make sure that all of your 3 units make sense. And yeah, just have fun with team building. You can actually do it with pretty much every unit. Like for example, even a unit like Barry, you can actually build a lot of useful teams with this. Like you saw the team I built with Barry, right? With Meryl and Craig. I call it the nuclear Craig. So even like Barry is widely known as a troll pick. Like this unit is actually working well with Barry. You can actually remove Meryl here for something else. Like for example, Sumire, you can actually add Sumire on the Steam comp. Yeah, this will actually work. I haven't tested it yet, but you know, I just know that it will work. Even if I try this out right now, I'm probably going to get a couple wins with it. Yeah, so this comp, even if you've never seen this before. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted you guys to get a good idea on the principles of team building. Now, if you want some more information about the different kinds of team comps, I actually made a video about that long ago, and I still think it still applies even until now. So yeah, I'm going to link it on the upper right corner of the screen if you want to check it out. And yeah, I hope you guys find this video useful. Thank you all for tuning in. See you all next time. Bye bye.